What if I told you that beauty doesn't begin in a store, but in a pile of forgotten things? What if the most calming corner of your garden could start with an old tire, a broken bottle, or even a scrap of plastic pipe? Welcome to a world where waste becomes wonder. This is Modhouse DIY, where discarded things find new life. And every build carries a bit of soul. In today's video, we'll explore DIY trash garden ideas. From recycled bottle paths to vertical walls made from old tires and paralon. It's practical, peaceful, and surprisingly easy to recreate with what you already have. There are timestamps below so you can jump to any project that speaks to you. If you have questions or want to share your own version, drop them in the comments. I read every one. And if this inspires you, even a little, please create it your way. Make it yours. Use what you have. Start today. To you, I might just be another face on a screen. But behind this voice is a real person, and a small family. This isn't just content. It's part of a dream I've been quietly building, piece by piece. When you like, when you comment, when you subscribe, you're not feeding an algorithm. You're helping hope survive. So if you feel seen here, thank you. If you believe in this, stay. Together, we can build something that lasts. Sometimes, beauty grows from the unexpected. In forgotten corners of our homes, amidst worn-out tires and broken slats of wood, lie whispers of possibilities. Possibilities that bloom, not in polished perfection, but in the tender marks of care, reuse, and quiet creativity. The soft warmth of the morning sun kisses a row of old car tires, now reborn in faded hues of terracotta, olive green, and mustard yellow. These once discarded rubber rings have been cut, cleaned, and carefully arranged to cradle patches of marigolds and support a flourish of wildflowers just beyond. Daisies and lavender sway in the breeze behind them, creating a soft symphony of color and motion. The weathered fence in the back carries ivy like memories, gentle, slow-growing, and deliberate. This isn't just about garden edging. It's about drawing lines not to divide, but to cradle beauty. A DIY border like this not only defines your garden space but invites the soul to pause and smile. A small raised garden bed is outlined with wooden slats painted in earthy, rustic tones, whitewash, deep clay, and charcoal. Their rounded tops echo a softer rhythm, almost like a child's sketch of a dream garden fence. Rosemary and thyme rise from the soil, fragrant and humble. Behind them stands a simple bamboo trellis, promising to hold beans or vines when the season calls. There's a bench not far away, waiting, perhaps, for someone to sit, breathe, and just be. And that's the essence of what upcycling in the garden offers. Not just saving money, not just saving waste, but saving spaces for quiet moments, for herbs to grow beside hopes. Where the garden itself feels like a hidden sanctuary. Encircled by time-worn black tires, each transformed into cradles for bursts of tulips and soft pansies, is a gravel court, clean, calm, and quiet. In its heart stands a lone rust-colored metal chair, as if inviting you to come sit with your thoughts. The symmetry of the tire planters brings grounding, while the ferns and vines that embrace the fence offer soft wildness, like nature's arms reaching inward. Here, trash becomes elegance. Repurposed materials become a meditative design. And the result is more than a garden, it's a refuge. These ideas are not just Pinterest dreams. They are doable, affordable, and resilient. Tires are built to last, and with the right paint and placement, they become both durable and delightful. Old wood can be sanded, sealed, and turned into borders that feel handcrafted. Even the simplest gravel path or bottle-lined edge can create moments of poetry in your yard. So next time you find something broken or unwanted, pause. See it again. Not as trash, but as potential. Because the most peaceful gardens are often not the most perfect. They are the ones made with care, a little dirt under the nails, and a heart full of gentle intention. What if beauty didn't begin in garden centers or glossy catalogs, but in the quiet corners where old things wait to be remembered? In this gentle corner of the world, painted rubber and humble hands meet under soft afternoon light. Forgotten tires, once dusty and dull, now sing in shades of mint, sky blue, and soft peach, each one carefully brushed with floral patterns, as if whispering, "You can grow from anything." A cozy patio space is transformed into a canvas of life. Stacked tires hold up bouquets of geraniums, white petunias, and trailing ivy, spilling over like laughter at a family picnic. A watering can rests nearby, catching the light like a silver smile. These planters are more than decoration, they're stories. Stories of patience, of second chances, of turning waste into wonder with just a few strokes of paint and a little soil. And perhaps that's the magic, that what once rolled down dusty roads now stands still, helping flowers rise. Then, step into the second setting, where a bold yellow tire swings quietly from a pergola beam. It cradles blue lobelia and bright nasturtiums like a joyful embrace. String lights above sway with the breeze, ready to glow as twilight leans in. Below, a bistro table waits, surrounded by the soft rustling of bamboo fencing. It's not grand, and that's what makes it so beautiful. You don't need acres. You need intention. You need one good idea, and a little sunlight. You need a place to sit with someone you love, or to sit alone and love the silence. And from above, we're gifted a glimpse of harmony in the final frame, a top-down view of 5 colored tire planters arranged like petals in bloom. Painted in soft pinks and reds, each cradles a living tapestry of greens and blossoms, basil, lettuce, pansies, and petunias coexisting in perfect closeness. The paving stones below are damp from a fresh watering, and the shadow of a tree dances gently across the ground. It's a reminder that gardens don't just feed the body. They feed the eye, the breath, and the spirit. For those watching, wondering, hesitating, this is your invitation. You don't need perfect tools. You don't need designer instructions. You just need something old, something useful, and the courage to give it new meaning. Paint the tire. Fill it with soil. Place it where the light is kindest. Because every bloom begins with a little dirt, and the belief that something can grow again. Sometimes, the smallest corners hold the greatest wonder. In places where most would see clutter or waste, some see potential. And in this quiet story of transformation, discarded bottles, once forgotten on a shelf or tossed into bins, find a second life in gardens too small to boast, yet too full of heart to ignore. Your gaze is drawn down a mossy path, flanked by rows of glass bottles turned upside down and gently pressed into the soil. Shades of emerald green and sapphire blue catch the sunlight like stained glass windows in a secret chapel. The zinnias and calendulas behind them bloom freely, as if grateful for the order the bottles bring. Each bottle stands like a humble pillar, reflecting both light and purpose. The path doesn't just guide your feet, it invites your breath to slow down. Where a fairy garden reveals itself in sweet pastel hues. Plastic bottles, once dull and lifeless, have been lovingly painted, pink, lavender, baby blue, and filled with warm fairy lights. They glow quietly beside cheerful pansies and clouds of baby's breath. A wooden sign points the way, not just to a flower bed, but to imagination itself. It's not about big budgets or perfect symmetry, it's about creating a moment, a feeling, a little whisper of delight for those who wander through. The glass bottle fence returns, this time more tightly framed, more detailed, and even more alive. Each bottle is unique. Some fogged from age, some pristine. The sunlight dances off their curved surfaces, casting glints of blue and green across the path. The beds they protect are lush with life, zinnias leaning toward the light, calendulas stretching upward like yellow flames. You can almost hear the bees buzzing softly nearby. It's quiet, yes, but never still. What these images teach us is not just how to decorate, but how to honor what we already have. A simple collection of old bottles, a bit of paint, and a corner of your yard are all you need. You don't need to be a landscaper. You don't need fancy tools. What you need is a little faith in forgotten things. So, next time you walk past an empty bottle or an unused corner of your garden, don't look away. Look again. Because within that trash lies the seed of something tender. Something whimsical. Something deeply yours. And in that second glance, you might just find your garden's most beautiful. Whispers of bottles and blooms. In the quietest corners of a backyard, where wildflowers stretch their faces to the sun, something unexpected glows like forgotten treasure. Look closely, not at the blooms, but at the ground that cradles them. The border is not made of stone or brick, but of glass bottles. Greens, blues, and transparent tones shimmer as sunlight passes through them, creating a dance of color that feels like a garden wearing jewelry. These are not just bottles, they are stories saved from the landfill. Wine bottles, soda bottles, all turned upside down and planted neck first into the soil. A small shift in angle, a little pressure, and suddenly, waste becomes wonder. It's simple to recreate. Remove the labels, wash them clean, and arrange tightly side by side. Not only does this create a vibrant edge for your flower beds, it also acts as a natural deterrent for crawling pests. The beauty lies in its ease. You don't need fancy tools, just intention and a bit of patience. Let your path meander like a memory, with each bottle casting soft reflections as the day turns. A bottle fence invites light and lets nature peek through the cracks. Pair them with calendulas, zinnias, or any sun-loving flowers for a truly radiant display. If you've ever wished for a garden that speaks of soul and sustainability, this might be it. A garden for fairies. Now close your eyes and picture a place where colors are soft, almost like whispers in spring. A pastel path winds gently between tiny blooms. On either side, plastic bottles, once tossed aside without thought, now stand proud, painted in lavender, rose, and robin's egg blue. Inside, gentle fairy lights flicker, especially as dusk falls, turning the space into a miniature dream. This is the charm of the fairy garden. It's light-hearted and playful, yet deeply rooted in creative reuse. Start with plastic bottles, any kind will do. Spray paint them with soft matte colors, let them dry, then add battery-powered string lights or tiny solar bulbs inside. Bury them just deep enough to stand strong, and line your garden path or flower bed with them. Suddenly, what was once trash becomes the border of a fantasy. Children adore this space. Guests pause longer. And more importantly, the earth breathes easier. Add pansies, baby's breath, or even trailing vines for softness. And don't forget the wooden sign. It's not just decoration, it's an invitation to wonder. Where old tires rest in bloom. In the countryside, past wooden fences and the cluck of hens, lies a more rugged kind of magic. Here, the story is told in circles, worn, weathered tires filled with soil and seeded with daisies and violets. They sit in rows like sentinels, framing a footpath made of cracked stones and moss, leading toward a humble pergola draped in vine. This is a garden that honors imperfection. The tires are not hidden, they are celebrated, their age visible in cracks and dust. But in their hollow centers, life blooms again. This method is rustic and practical. Tires hold heat, retain moisture, and create natural raised beds. Perfect for hardy flowers or herbs like rosemary, marigold, or chamomile. For extra drainage, you can fill the bottom with gravel or broken brick. You don't even need to paint them. Let the rubber gray with time. Or, if you choose to, use weather-resistant paints in whites or muted earth tones. Their texture adds charm, their weight gives durability, and their presence tells a powerful story, that beauty grows where care is planted, even in discarded things. And the best part? Every tire saved from the dump becomes a cradle for new life. As the sun bows gently behind the trees and the sky melts into evening, the garden begins to breathe in golden light. Here, in this quiet corner of the world, something magical has happened, born not from a store, but from old glass and forgotten bottles, each one a castaway from yesterday's table. Now, they shimmer like fireflies caught in time. Lined along a winding path, the bottles, emerald, cobalt, and crystal clear, cradle tiny candles within, casting soft glows that dance with the lavender and petunias swaying behind them. With each flicker, they whisper that beauty doesn't demand perfection, only intention. Above the patio, a wooden pergola cradles more light. Hanging from thin threads, old cut-glass bottles dangle like bells of light. They are etched with patterns of age and story, glowing gently in warm tones as twilight deepens. They do not rush the night. They invite it. And then there is the softest scene of all, a corner where bottle flowers bloom, not of petals and pollen, but of shaped plastic and love. Fixed upon bamboo stakes, they form a semicircle of glowing light, guarding a simple bowl with floating candles. This is not just lighting, it is ceremony. It is reverence. Here's the secret. You don't need expensive fixtures to make a place feel sacred. You need hands willing to see treasure in trash, and eyes gentle enough to love imperfection. Use LED tea lights for safety. Choose solar when you can. Cut bottles carefully, gloves and patience are your best tools. And always seal the edges for weather. You're not just making lights, you're creating memories that shine when the world gets dark. So next time you hold an empty wine bottle or soda glass, don't throw it. Listen to it. Maybe, just maybe, it wants to become a lantern, a beacon, a bottle of stars for your evening garden. And when you light it, you'll know you've given something lost a home again. Out here, where gravel crunches beneath your boots and the wind carries the scent of hay, even trash finds its purpose again. Imagine standing beside a whitewashed barn, the morning light still golden and low. The air hums with gentle sounds, the clucking of hens, the soft rustle of sunflower leaves brushing against one another in the breeze. Before you, a fence rises not of wood or wire, but of memory and imagination. Old tractor tires, weathered and weary, now stacked and repurposed. They cradle soil and life. They cradle sunflowers. This isn't just a fence. It's a border made of hope. Each tire once discarded, now gives rise to something bright and living. Painted in soft whites or left bare, the rubber contrasts gently with the golden petals. Some tires are filled with herbs, their roots curling toward the ground like hanging lanterns of life. Others simply frame a view, of fields, of wildflowers, of sky. The rhythm of the fence changes with each scene. One stretch zigzags with chalky arcs, creating playful shadows across fields of poppies, daisies, and cornflowers. Another holds a simple handmade sign, "Farm Fresh." The words speak truth, not only about the produce but the practice. Fresh ideas, fresh purpose, fresh life. If you wish to try this yourself, it doesn't ask for much. Just patience, a little paint, and a willingness to see potential where others see waste. Cut or stack tires between fence posts. Fill them with soil. Let your herbs, your flowers, even your chickens become part of the picture. You're not just building a garden. You're telling a story of renewal. And when the wind passes through, rustling leaves, ringing wind chimes made of spoons, you'll be reminded that beauty is never far. It often grows quietly, blooming from the things we almost forgot. Sometimes, the smallest spaces hold the greatest potential for beauty. A forgotten wall, a sunlit balcony, even a narrow alley between city bricks, these become poetry when touched by creativity and care. In today's quiet exploration, we meet the humble plastic bottle, discarded, common, and often overlooked. But here, it rises in color, purpose, and grace. The first scene is a pastel dream, where dozens of bottles dangle like ornaments of spring. Soft pinks, mint greens, sky blues, all cradling blossoms of nasturtium, violas, and pansies. This isn't just a wall, it's a celebration. The bottles are tied gently with twine, hung upside down like wind chimes that whisper stories of rebirth. Below, a corner bench hosts small toys and boots, suggesting this garden is not only loved by adults but also discovered daily by little hands and wide eyes. And then, a shift. A slender side yard becomes a symphony of order and greenery. Against a bamboo fence, olive and white bottles form a vertical grid, each hosting lettuce, herbs, or strawberries. Wooden labels mark their names: basil, mint, coriander, not just plants, but ingredients for daily joy. A cat naps by a watering can in the corner, basking in warm light, unbothered by the gentle rhythm of growth around it. This space reminds us that gardening is not about acreage, it's about intention. Finally, we arrive on a sunny balcony where painted bottles, this time bold and bright in lemon yellow, coral red, turquoise blue, hold plump basil, cherry tomatoes, and peppermint. Arranged horizontally across wooden trellises, they form a living canvas. The morning sun pours in, lighting up every leaf, every dewdrop. A stool rests nearby with garden tools, a quiet invitation to touch, tend, and taste. Practical tip: use sturdy plastic bottles, preferably 1.5 L or 2 L, and drill small drainage holes at the bottom. Cut them according to your plant needs, horizontally for herbs, vertically for flowers. Secure them with durable twine or mount them on wood panels. Even in rain or strong sun, These mini planters will hold firm if properly arranged. This is the magic of DIY vertical gardens, transforming trash into tender beauty. It's a gesture of hope, one bottle at a time. A promise that even our discarded things, when touched by care and imagination, can become vessels of life. Let this be your nudge to look around your space. The wall you pass daily. The balcony that holds only shoes. The fence you never really noticed. Perhaps, tomorrow, they'll bloom. And it will all begin with a bottle. A warm, poetic storytelling narration with practical inspiration. In the hush of a suburban backyard, there stands a gazebo not built for grandeur, but for gentleness. It doesn't demand your awe, it welcomes your presence. Its beauty doesn't come from expensive materials. It comes from the humble grace of second chances. Look closely at its base. You won't find polished marble or perfect paving. Instead, old ceramic plates curve like flower petals between weathered tires, each one holding stories of their own. Tires that once rolled across highways now rest, half buried like anchors of memory, framing marigolds and alyssum in thick orange bloom. Bricks, salvaged from renovation and ruin, become steps. They do not match, and that is the point. They belong here, because they were once unloved. This is a place that teaches us, junk is only junk until it finds its voice. Under the gaze of the white gazebo, where climbing roses twist slowly toward the light, discarded things have grown soft with time. They invite butterflies and bare feet alike. And over there, in another garden corner, painted bottles line the border like little guardians of color. Their glass shimmers in late sunlight, grounded in mosaics made of broken tiles, a gentle rebellion against perfectionism. Inside the gazebo, two chairs wait, surrounded by the lavender hum of bees and summer calm. You don't need a perfect plan to begin. You only need your hands, a bit of time, and the courage to see beauty where others don't. Old bamboo can become a fence. A snapped flower pot, turned sideways, might cradle a daisy. Even a rusted pipe, once forgotten in a shed, can now frame the softest pink blossom. Line your garden beds with what you already have. Stack, bury, tie, the only rule is harmony with nature. Make a path out of wooden discs. Let grass spill into it. Allow wildness. And above all, don't throw it away just yet. Because in the right garden, even waste waits to bloom. Step softly into a space where silence breathes and every stone has its place. Here, in this humble corner of the world, a garden whispers of old wisdom, whispers carried not by luxury, but by simplicity. This is a Japanese-inspired haven, reborn from forgotten things. Worn black tires, once discarded on the roads of yesterday, now cradle bonsai trees like ancient guardians. Trimmed into arcs and half-moons, these rubber relics rise from white gravel paths, paths gently raked into meditative waves. The arrangement is deliberate, patient, and balanced. Moss and miniature ferns spill softly from the edges, reminding us that life finds a way, even in the most unlikely vessels. The fences, made from bamboo stalks bound with natural twine, curve and dance with the flow of the path. They guide you, not with rigidity, but with grace, leading your feet to smooth stone steps, and your eyes to tranquil lanterns surrounded by azaleas in bloom. The muted green, the quiet grays, the kiss of soft morning light, it all composes a kind of poetry without words. There is no noise here, only the rustle of leaves, and the calm sound of gravel underfoot. And yet, within this peaceful scene, lies a powerful idea, that beauty can be shaped not from spending more, but from seeing more, seeing potential in what was once called trash. If you have tires, do not throw them. Wash them, coat them with matte black paint or let the rubber age gracefully. Line them with wheat cloth and fill them with soil. Suddenly, they are raised beds for bonsai, succulents, or seasonal flowers. A corner of your yard becomes a canvas for quiet design. Pair them with found bamboo or even wooden broom handles, anything that can be cut, arranged, and tied with rope or string. This isn't about precision. It's about rhythm. Let your hands follow the shape of your space, let your heart follow the flow of the garden. Remember, stillness is something we must build with our own hands. And sometimes, it begins with the most unexpected pieces of the past. Sometimes, the soul seeks shelter, not from the rain, but from the noise of the world. And what if that shelter, your haven, could grow from the very things most people throw away? Let us wander into a garden where quiet strength rises from rubber rings and wooden grace. In the first scene, a humble corner transforms. Old tires, once worn thin on highways and forgotten backroads, now cradle pillars of warm wood. Their blackness grounds the structure, filled with crushed stone that sparkles like dew under morning light. Around them, semicircles of repainted tire segments form a rhythmic boundary, olive and ivory, like nature's own embrace. A single vine begins its gentle climb, promising shade in seasons to come. Lavender hums softly from the background, its scent carried by a breeze you almost feel through the screen. These are not decorations. They are purpose reborn. The second space is bolder. Here, the tires have been dressed in terracotta hues, an earthy skin that complements the pebble-filled columns above them. These aren't merely reused objects, but architectural statements. The pergola they support is proud and timeless, with flowers blooming like applause around its feet. Smaller tire halves ripple outward as garden edging, cradling begonias, thyme, and trailing beauty that softens the rawness of upcycled stone and steel. This is not just a place to rest. It's a place that teaches endurance, silently, by example. And then, there's the third. An urban patio where string lanterns sway like memories in the evening air. Tires double-stacked, planted with blooming petunias, cradle each wooden leg. You don't see rust here, you see stories. Of how something rugged, discarded, unpolished, found a second chance beneath a beam of light. How even in small spaces, transformation is possible. These spaces are proof that creativity is not a luxury, it's a quiet revolution. With a bit of gravel, discarded rubber, and a willingness to try, we rewrite the role of trash in our gardens and in our lives. So maybe the next time you see an old tire, don't turn away. See it as the beginning of a shade-giving vine, the base of a peaceful pergola, the boundary of something beautiful. And remember, what we throw away is sometimes only waiting for us to imagine again. Somewhere between the scent of herbs and the hush of gravel paths, lies a story shaped not by extravagance, but by intention. In this quiet backyard, what once rolled down roads, worn tires forgotten, now cradle life. Paired with sun-aged wooden pallets, these ordinary cast-offs have been transformed into an elegant border, weaving charm and sustainability into a single breath. Beneath the gentle sun, the tires have been repurposed into herb beds, lush with oregano, mint, chives, and lemon balm. Their circular frames, painted in soft blacks and greens, gently contrast the natural textures around them. These little garden pockets are ideal for controlling soil and moisture, especially for herbs that love good drainage. Just fill them with compost-rich earth, and let nature do the rest. Behind the herb tires, a rustic fence made from reclaimed pallets curves along the garden's edge, its imperfections embraced, its faded planks standing proud. The structure isn't just functional, it's deeply symbolic. A tribute to time. To the idea that age adds character, not waste. And then, you might notice the little details. A coiled garden hose waiting patiently. Marigolds glowing like small lanterns beside the mulch. A compost bin quietly turning scraps into tomorrow's soil. This is more than a thrifty DIY project. It's a conversation between past and present, between what we discard, and what we can reimagine. You don't need a big budget to create beauty. Only heart, patience, and a willingness to see possibility where others see trash. Paint the tires in hues that match your garden's rhythm. Arrange pallets in layered patterns for added texture. Let the wildness of herbs soften the structure of wood and rubber. In a world that constantly asks for more, this little garden whispers something different. Use less. Love more. And let your hands shape a space that gives back. Imagine a garden where the ocean never left, where forgotten bottles once adrift now stand proudly beneath the sun, catching light like tiny lighthouses guiding peace into your backyard. These seascape-inspired borders begin with a simple act of rescue. Gathering discarded glass bottles, washed in shades of seafoam green, cobalt, and turquoise. Not broken. Not useless. Just waiting to be seen anew. Nestled beside white river stones, the bottles whisper tales of distant shores. Some upright, others placed upside down like sunken relics, they form a line, a barrier, a story, a piece of art. Seashells curl gently in between, and fragments of driftwood rest like punctuation marks in a sentence nature never finished. Here, low succulents swell like sea anemones, and the soft blue glow of lobelia completes the illusion. This isn't just a border, it's a beach dreamed into bloom. And look, there, the wave begins to ripple. In the second garden, crushed white stone flows like surf, and glass jars, once candle holders or sauce bottles, are now waves themselves, stacked in gradients of azure and deep ocean blue. They curve along the garden bed in rhythm, mirroring the shape of tides and time. Lavender and thrift bloom like coral, while a playful wooden sign with painted seashells reminds us gardens can giggle, too. Then, in the final patch, serenity circles you. A round bed framed in upcycled bottles, each painted, wrapped, or adorned with a starfish. It's part sculpture, part flower bed, part escape. Ornamental grasses dance in the middle, and sweet white alyssum clusters soften the bold glass frame. A coastal charm emerges, not from price, but from purpose. Practical tip? Use a bit of sand to steady your bottles upright. Let the space between them hold shells, small pebbles, or time. And if safety is a concern, simply cap the bottles or sink them slightly for gentle edging. There's beauty in bottles when they no longer carry anything except light and a bit of your story. So wander your recycling bin with wonder. Every color holds a current. And your garden? It can hold the sea. There's a kind of magic that lives in quiet corners of our gardens, not in rare seeds or perfect soil, but in the way we give forgotten things a second life. Step into this story, a winding path that hums with color, where old bottles once emptied of joy now brim with new purpose. Neck down, pressed gently into the earth, they form a radiant border, red, yellow, turquoise, violet. Each one catching the sun like a small lighthouse for butterflies. White gravel crunches softly beneath your step, and pansies nod from the sidelines like little storytellers in bloom. A wooden bench waits at the end of the trail, not as furniture, but as an invitation to pause and listen. In another quiet backyard, the bottles glow differently. They cradle pastel water like captured twilight, peachy skies, sea green dawns, and lilac sunsets sealed beneath corks. Between them, tiny solar lights blink to life when the stars begin to whisper. It feels like a garden for gentle creatures, for barefoot evenings and moonlight wanderings. Look closer still. The path curves again, now edged in a kaleidoscope. A rainbow of glass, tall and small, frames the walkway like a celebration. Wildflowers bloom in the rhythm of freedom, and beside them, someone has tucked tiny signs that read, "Grow, bloom, wonder." At the path's end, a miniature greenhouse rises. Not from money, but from memory, old window frames, each with a story, fitted together by patient hands. Want to try this at home? Use what you already have. Let bottles of every shape become your mosaic palette. If you'd like more shimmer, fill them with colored water or sand. Bury the necks deep enough to stand firm, but close enough that they whisper to each other in the wind. A garden path doesn't need to be straight. It just needs to lead somewhere that feels like you. And sometimes, it only takes a rainbow of bottles to light the way home. Some fences are meant to keep things out. But this fence was meant to bloom. In the still heart of a backyard, where silence once lingered against a plain wooden wall, something unexpected has awakened. Rows of used tires, tired from the miles they've traveled, now rise in quiet stacks. No longer rushing across roads, they cradle new life. Herbs, flowers, even tiny tufts of ornamental grass, nestled like secrets in their circular embrace. Above them, horizontal pipes once meant to carry water now carry something more delicate. Painted in gentle tones of white and olive green, they line the fence like gentle shelves, each one hosting herbs that sway with scent, thyme, mint, basil. There are succulents, too, quiet warriors of drought and beauty, spilling softly from their carved-out homes in the pipe's curve. A lantern hangs quietly between them, catching morning light, not just for illumination, but as a reminder. Even old things can hold something new. And then, a splash of color. Further down the fence, bright red, blue, and yellow paralon pipes leap from the wood in joyful defiance. Painted like playgrounds and dreams, they cradle petunias, vinca, and laughter. Around them, tires bloom in turquoise, a blue so bold it feels like summer itself. The ground is softened by mulch, and a simple garden table waits nearby. There's no need for marble or manicured lines. There's beauty here in repurposing, in celebrating the imperfect. Each element, each pipe, each tire, each screw and flower, is a gentle rebellion against waste. And here's a whisper of advice. You don't need a big backyard or a big budget. You need eyes that see potential. Paralon pipes can be cut with a simple saw and sealed with soil. Tires can be stacked or hung. A coat of paint can turn the forgotten into the cherished. Even your fence, the plainest one, can become a canvas where hope grows. So let this be more than a makeover. Let it be a lesson, that even the most ordinary wall can become a living, breathing story. All it needs is for you to begin. In a quiet corner of the garden, where time seems to slow and the wind carries only whispers, there stands a fountain that was never supposed to be. It wasn't forged in marble or carved by sculptors. It began with a tire, then another, and one more. Stacked with care, painted in hues of deep cobalt blue or left in honest black, these humble circles, once racing across highways, now cradle something more delicate than rubber ever held, the sound of moving water. From the top tire, a gentle trickle spills downward, like a memory rediscovered. Sometimes, it flows from a simple bamboo spout, arcing softly before disappearing into the layer below. There's no grandeur here. No roaring jets. Just a soothing stream, bubbling like a secret being told to the earth. Around the base, white river stones form a quiet ring, like sentinels watching the ritual of water. They catch the sunlight, glowing like pearls against green moss and golden marigolds. A few pansies dance in the breeze. Creeping time spills over a brick border in one version, while colorful bottles shimmer like sea glass in another. And here, in this circle of calm, the sound of the world fades. You see, this fountain isn't just about water. It's about stillness. About crafting something sacred from what others might discard. If you wish to make your own, know this, you don't need to follow rigid plans. Let your intuition guide the layers. Old tires become the bones. A small submersible pump, hidden deep, becomes the breath. And the rest, mosaic tiles, bamboo, smooth stones, even bottle glass, is simply soul. Place it somewhere quiet. A spot the morning sun touches first. Add a bench, if you like. Or kneel beside it as the water flows, and let your worries drift into the ripple. Because sometimes, in the garden, it's the broken things, reassembled with love, that end up singing the most beautiful songs.